Welcome to the Sound of Ideas from IdeaStream Public Media. I'm Stephanie Haney. Thanks for being with us today. Every year, it's estimated that Ohioans collectively lose $150 million to scammers. Last year, in Cuyahoga County alone, the losses to scams were more than $5 million. Senior citizens have long been the focus of consumer protection efforts in this realm due to scammers preying on them, using fear and high-pressure techniques to get at their personal information and ultimately their money. But the rise of artificial intelligence and people spending more time online has led to even younger digital-savvy people becoming victims too. According to the latest data from the Better Business Bureau of Cleveland, now younger adults are scammed more often, but older adults typically take a larger financial hit when they're victimized. Experts say in general it's becoming more difficult to determine what's legitimate and what's a scam. So we'll start today's show with a conversation about how to protect yourself from bad actors online. If you have questions, now is the time to get on the phone or send us an email. And don't worry, we promise this is not a scam. We do want you to give us a call if you have those questions and comments. Our number is 866-578-0903. You can also email us at soi@ideastream.org or message us on Instagram. We're at The Sound of Ideas. Joining me now in studio are two consumer protection experts. We have Cheryl Harris. She's the director of the Department of Consumer Affairs for Cuyahoga County, which staffs the Scam Squad reporting line. Cheryl, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Happy to be here. Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we also have Katie Hills with us. She's the marketing director for the Better Business Bureau of Cleveland. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Good to see you. Very familiar faces with these two ladies as we talk about protecting you from these scams today. Now, Cheryl, tell us about your Scam Squad and the kind of work you do with local, state, and federal agencies.
So Scam Squad is it's a multidisciplinary task force. We look at financial fraud and try to protect our residents in Cuyahoga County from scams. But our members include the BBB, the Ohio Attorney General's Office, the FBI, the FTC, local police departments. It's a large group of folks who are either investigating scams or helping victims of scams.
Squad goals. It's a big squad.
Yeah, well, and what we try to do is reduce the barriers to reporting scams, because there are some are personal. You know, people feel embarrassed or they're not sure where to report and they wind up making a series of phone calls. So that's why we started the Scam Squad line. So you just call once. Then we want people to, we want our members to share that scam report with the agency that's best suited to investigate, because that's going to be the most effective way to get that on the radar of agencies. And then finally, we want to mine the scam reports that we get so that we can really tell everyone how to protect themselves from various scams.
Now, when you talk about getting the word out to people, what have you found has been most effective that's resonating with people to really drive home how they can protect themselves?
Well, we just did, see, I brought this with me, but
yes, we got the binder.
We just did our Scam Squad guide. This is available online, and it's easy to read. It's got, we really approach this from the idea of what do scammers want and how do they work to get it? Because it's more than just the scam. It's what they're trying to do is isolate you. They're trying to get your emotions to change, get you excited, get you worried. Because once we're in that space where we're tense or our brains are whirling around possibilities or worries, we actually cannot, as we can't really access that part of our brain that analyzes things really rationally. So they try to get you in that space, and then they're going to approach you with whatever scam that is. So there's no one-size-fits-all kind of scam, but the guide is online at cuyahogacounty.gov/scam squad, and anyone can read that. And I think once you can identify like the markers for a scam, I think that you can identify any scam, even if it changes, even because scams are constantly changing. So that's one tool that we provide to people. The website has everything on it about scams, and the Scam Squad line, which is 216-443-7226. That's for folks to call into. So if you're not sure, you can call in, you talk to one of our investigators, and we tell you, does that hit markers for us? Are we seeing that kind of thing? Is it real? And if you lose money to a scam, we're going to help you connect with an agency that might be able to claw back those funds, and we're going to tell you how to protect yourself going forward. Because once you lose money to a scam, you're going to be getting a lot more scam calls.
Sure, sure. Let's recap some of those telltale signs of a scam, Katie. What is it that people should be looking for the telltale signs?
Absolutely. There's a lot of things to look for, depending on the type of scam, right? So we talk about phishing scams. If you're getting an unsolicited text or an unsolicited email and it's from somebody that you don't know, that's a red flag. If somebody reaches out to you on social media, either asking to invest money, even if you think you know them, we've actually recently had reports of some people who will pose as a family member, right? So they'll pose as a cousin or a sister-in-law or something like that, and then come in and try and get you to invest in Bitcoin or crypto or something like that. Another sign is urgency. So kind of what you mentioned, if there's an urgency to it, it's usually a red flag because they want you to act then. They don't want you to take a beat and think about it. We see that a lot with grandparent scams. So when people get a phone call and fun fact, it only takes like 3 seconds for someone's voice to be on social media for a scammer to be able to clone their voice.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I'm in big trouble. We're all in big trouble right here.
Especially right now. Yeah. They all have
Send
our
me a
voice.
DM _ Stephanie Haney if you think you're getting something from me, because that is my actual Instagram.
I do want to just add, though,
Yeah.
that these investment scams they're operating a little bit of a kind of operating in a different way now, and we do think that these are AI based. So let's just say you get one of the calls that Katie just mentioned.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a text. Are we on for dinner tonight? You don't know the person, and so you're trying to be nice, and you send back the note. I'm sorry, you're texting the wrong person. Well, they try to strike up a relationship with you, and very quickly they sound you out. They're able, once they have your number and everything else, they're able to go and figure out who you are online, get information about you, and start to build a scam for you. And with AI, it's super easy. So let's just say you're interested in investing. Well, they strike up a friendship. Here, I know this great site. Here, come over here. So you're in a group, and there are other people joining or who are there, and you become friends with them. These scammers will wait a month, 3 months before they actually make the ask of you. So and it looks like some generic member of the group is recommending an investment. Someone else in the group says, that's I made a killing on that. So you download the app they tell you to download. It shows your money growing. In some cases, the victims are able to pull out like a little money. That's their test. Can I get some money back out? Well, this they can, so it must be right. So then they start putting in the large amounts. And we've had folks report to our office losing anywhere from like $30,000 to over $500,000 to these scams. And as soon as they try to make a bigger withdrawal, the app that's showing their income going up stops working, and this group disappears. Everyone goes to them because they're all in concert. You can't tell. And again, human nature, we think because other people are doing it, that's safe, because other people are making the same choice. Somebody along the line must have checked this out. But it's all built around you and getting your money.
If you're just joining us here on The Sound of Ideas, we are talking about scams, all kinds of different scams, some that are perpetrated largely online, others by phone calls, different types of things. If you want to be a part of this conversation, maybe you have been a target of a scam of some. Maybe you've lost some money in one of these really unfortunate situations. We'd love to hear from you. Our number is 866-578-0903. Our email is soi@ideastream.org. We have an email now from David B. in Cleveland Heights. David writes, I've seen it all. Scams via phone, email, websites, mail. What I really would like to know is how to report a scam that I haven't fallen for but would like to protect others from. The example is being billed for a Medicare plan from a company that I've not ever even expressed interest in, much less signed up for. Would the Attorney General's office or the Insurance Department of Ohio be interested, or the FBI? David asks. Cheryl?
If you're reporting a scam and you haven't suffered a loss, you can do it a couple different ways. You can call the Scam Squad line. We'll take that. Every scam we take in, we share with with the Federal Trade Commission Sentinel database, which
And
means
that is the Cuyahoga County Scam Squad line.
that's the Cuyahoga County Scam Squad line. It's 216-443-7226. It spells scam, but no one can remember that part of it. We thought we were clever, but you know.
It is clever.
But you can report it to us. You could, if you want, just go directly to the FTC site, ftc.gov, and input it there if there's $0 loss. Now, if you're looking for one-on-one help, you need to come back to us because there you're just reporting directly into the database. So I don't believe the Ohio Department of Insurance tracks these, but getting it into the Sentinel database is really important, just so that they know the volume of calls and they can use all those reports they get from across the country to connect the dots between those scams.
You can also report it to bbb.org, regardless of if you have lost money or not. It's helpful because people are able to see what scams are going on currently in their area. So they can search by state or zip code, city, things like that. And that's very helpful for us so that we're aware of the scams that are going on, but also for the people in our community. So we recommend reporting to bbb.org. Again, regardless if you have money that you have lost or not lost, because it will be helpful for people in the area to know.
But if you've suffered $1 loss, you need to get it to a government agency. I mean, we used to say a few years ago, if you lost Bitcoin, there's no chance. But there are several different, both a state and a federal crypto task forces that actually are trying to claw back lost crypto, and they've had some success at it. And again, if you lost money through your bank, there's a period during which you can claw back those funds, and we just need to make sure that people are reporting as quickly as they can. So, you know, one-on-one, even if it's your, police department, but you've got to get it reported out to an agency that can take the steps to help you get the funds back. And frankly, the Scam Squad site also has, if you've been scammed, and it gives you steps you can take. Like if we're not there, you can, it's in the middle of the night, you realized you lose the money to a scam, it'll get you started on some of the steps, and then if you file a report, an investigator will be back with you. So reporting is crucial, and reporting fast is crucial.
And so is the BBB and the Cuyahoga County Scam Squad, are y'all sharing information, or do people need to report in both places?
We both share information, I think, in Sentinel, so it would go that way. Because we're government, we're sharing more directly with government agencies, and we're trying to get police departments who are taking these reports connected with the actual governmental agency that's going to work to get funds back or help them investigate. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that happens. But we share in our they're members of Scam Squad, and when we meet, they're bringing to us what they're seeing, and as all our members do. So
Okay, good to know. All right, we have a call now from Josie. And Josie is in Euclid. Josie, I have a note here. Welcome to the Sound of Ideas. If you're on speakerphone, please take us off speakerphone. That'll make us be able to hear you better. Welcome to the show, Josie. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, good morning. I am calling to find out if the panel can address the phone calls that are coming through either on cell phones or landlines from area codes. One recognizes either 216-440-330, that appear to be legitimate phone calls, but more than likely they're not, and trace back to, non-legitimate phone calls. So if you could address that, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Josie. So what we have found are scammers can go and buy bulk phone numbers. And so they can buy them with area codes that you recognize. And as we all know, if it's an area code that you're familiar with or the area code that you have, you're more likely to pick up that phone call. For instance, I am not originally from Ohio, so my area code is from where I grew up in Michigan. So anytime I get a 517 phone call, I'm like, oh my gosh, it must be somebody, some long lost person I know, even though I know it's not. And it's a number, but it looks like it appears as something that I would be more likely to answer.
And what about spoofing? Let's talk about spoofing
Yeah,
very quickly.
so I wanted to say caller ID is your friend
Yeah.
in the sense that if you have no numbers programmed into your phone, sometimes you can tell if that's a person who's known to you or not. We always say if they're unknown, don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
But spoofing, so it's illegal, but scammers don't care about that. The caller ID will show, like, it's the sheriff's department calling, for example. And then you have some scammer impersonating a deputy and telling you either that someone you love is in jail, and they may actually be.
oh boy, so that's a double spoof.
It's so bad.
We have a call from James in Maslin, actually, to this point. James, welcome to the Sound of Ideas. Please share your thought.
Well, I guess I want to follow up on the previous conversation about spoofing and so forth, because for about 2 years now, I've been calling back roughly 10 or 15 calls a day. And when I get these calls that are from, at least in my area, I'm down in Stark County, I'm getting from 234 area code numerous times a day. And, of course, there's a button on my phone, and supposedly I have software that I can report it back. And I'm wondering, does it do anything? I've heard that actually reporting it puts your number back into the pile to be called again. And I'm wondering if reporting is a good thing to do, reporting it back, or not, because it seems like maybe just disconnecting the call without even answering it is better than reporting it.
Not answering the call at all is the best because you want these things to go to your voicemail. The minute you start picking up calls from scammers, you're going to get more calls. Those tools that you have to report spoofed call, use those because they notify your carrier.
Yeah.
And have you ever gotten those calls where it says spam risk underneath? Those are calls that they say, we can't verify that whoever's showing on the caller ID is actually who they say they are. Those reporting tools help. So yes, the most effective thing to do is just use those tools on your phone to report spam or scam calls, and then do not answer live calls. I mean, if you don't know them, let them go to voicemail, because if it's anything important, you can call them back.
To your point, Cheryl, one of the things is we do at BBB a lot of senior talks, and I've recently had to become the bearer of bad news because so many people like to answer the call and then play with them or like tease them or say inappropriate things, whatever it may be. And then I come in and I'm like, well, actually, as fun as that may sound, not answering is the best, because once they know that line is live, they will always call you back and they will share that with other scammers.
And if you mess with them too much, they use your number as the call number, and then you're getting all sorts of angry calls from all over the country accusing you of trying to scam people.
Well,
which
that
we
is
also
just
don't want
rude.
people to do.
It's rude. It's real
That
rude.
is just rude. Can we have an email now from Susan? Susan writes, can you step-by-step explain the process to privately sell a car? Is accepting Venmo, PayPal, etc. okay? Everything seems so fraught with danger. Katie, I'll ask you about this.
No, I would never pay for anything with Venmo, with PayPal, I mean, yes, you can pay for things with those,
But with a stranger direct sale interaction.
especially for a car, you should not be doing that. In fact, we recommend that you use your credit card, because if you use your credit card, if you think about it, that is the bank's money. And so if the bank loses their money to a scam, they're going to work extra hard to get that money back. But if you use cash, it's unfortunately gone for hopefully not ever, but a while. Venmo, it's hard to just have receipts with Venmo or PayPal, even though you think you have receipts. We always say, do it with a credit card, pay with a credit card, especially if you're making a big purchase like a car.
Or if you're the seller,
Yes.
cash
Yes.
is king or queen.
Yes.
Cash is queen. That's what we'll say. Let me ask you this. What about using your credit card through Venmo? Because you do have the option to use your credit card through Venmo.
That's a great question. You know, if I'm being honest, I actually do not know the answer to that right now, but that's something that we can look into. We always recommend, well,
I would think that would make the sale through the
Yeah.
credit card, and Venmo's just then the processing agent
Yeah.
because they charge those additional
You have
percentage
protections
fees.
on a credit card
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
don't have, as
with a
Katie
debit
mentioned.
card.
You know, with a debit card or that direct
cash,
draw from
yeah.
your account.
Yeah.
But that's if you're the purchaser. That's different from the situation that Susan is asking about. If you're selling the car and then you're receiving money from other people. So I'm kind of talking about the flip scenario there.
No, that's very smart. I'm sorry. I'm glad you brought that back up. So yeah, it's if you're receiving the money, you still want to make sure that the funds that you're receiving though are legitimate, right? So receiving funds from certain places like Venmo is, I don't want to say it's, perfect, but if they did pay with a credit card, there's more protection there.
Okay, that's good to know. I want to remind our audience, if you're just joining us here on The Sound of Ideas, we're talking about scam protection. We have two consumer protection experts with us from the Better Business Bureau of Cleveland and also from the Cuyahoga County Scam Squad. If you want to call with us, the number is 866-578-0903. You can also email us at soi@ideastream.org. Now we have an email from an audience member that says, please keep repeating the Scam Squad phone numbers slowly, especially for older people who are trying to help. We appreciate that very much. So what is
Okay.
the Scam Squad website and phone number, Cheryl?
Okay, the website is Cuyahoga County, all one word, .gov/Scam Squad, and the phone number is 216-443-7226.
And Katie, for the Better Business Bureau, what's the website to report?
bbb.org.
Okay, there you go. One more time, just for good measure. Cheryl?
Call Scam Squad 216-443-7226. Are you asking us to repeat the phone number or for the
Yes.
last tips? Okay,
Yes.
yeah, sorry.
Just to repeat it, we're on the radio, we're on Ohio Channel. Some people are dipping in and out.
Yeah.
And Katie again.
bbb.org.
Okay, let's talk about younger people who are being victimized by these scams. So, what are we finding there when it comes to what's happening there with people who are really digitally savvy?
Yeah. We find a lot that people automatically assume that older adults will be the first and most likely to be scammed. But what we're actually finding out is that younger adults are more easily scammed because they're on sites like TikTok and there's no vetting process, right? When people post things on TikTok Shop, which trust me, I also love TikTok Shop just as much as anybody else. But the people that put those products up there are not always vetted. So we want to make sure that younger adults are also figuring out that they need to check a website or a seller before they enter their credit card information or, even Apple Pay or something super easy. It's so easy to swipe your card now. That we urge younger adults to be able to look things up and make sure what they're buying is legitimate and realistic.
And the investment scams, a lot of younger people dabbling in investments
Yeah.
that they hear through TikTok and other
Yep.
chat type situations. And the other one is job scams. You'll get an email, let's say you're in college, you get an email from a prof. Looks like it's from a prof about a job. You click on the link, you start sharing your personal information, and then a lot of the job scams revolve around asking you to either set up an account that the company can use. No company ever does that. Just says, hey, new hire, here's an account, and I want you to manage money for the company in there. But the other thing is fake checks, and they are alive and well, and because young people don't tend to use checks, they tend to be really vulnerable to this one. So there's a law that says banks have to make your deposited cash available to you in really quickly. So when you get a check, if you don't bounce your checking account, those funds appear in there and you're able to use them, but they're not really there. The bank still hasn't put the check through the automatic clearinghouse, and once they try a couple times and it doesn't go through, someone manually does it and they discover that's a counterfeit check. Anything that you sent out of that account is pulled back. So the scams typically work like, I'm giving you a check, pay this company that we owe money to, it's bigger than your salary, keep the rest. Well, that seems like a trust thing. So now you're trusted by this new employer, you're trying to do your right thing by them. But when you make that payment, all those funds are going to be be drawn back by your bank, and you're going to be out that money. And we've had young people lose rent money, school money, all of it.
Sure, not just when you're young. A lot of times, every dollar counts in that bank account.
Yes.
We have an email in now from John. John writes, are banks and our financial institutions doing anything to curb the tide of these scams, and how effective have those efforts been?
Well, I think the banks are working hard to try to figure the right formulas out, and it's tough because each scam has a different kind of pattern that happens, and so one size doesn't fit all when it comes to warnings about scams. So we are working as Scam Squad. We have a project going where we are creating and testing some bank-based, teller-based scam prevention tools. And we had psychologists and crisis intervention specialists come in and work with us on this project. We're testing it through the University of Cincinnati. And so if there are folks you have to be in Cuyahoga County because we're snotty that way, but if there are banks or credit unions in Cuyahoga County who'd like to be a test site for the pilot, we're putting out feelers now, but they can also call that Scam Squad line, 216-443-7226, and we're happy to have them be test sites for this pilot. It's just to see what works and what doesn't.
Sure. Good question for you, though, actually, about the county reach here. Are you aware, Cheryl, are other counties having scam squads? We do reach 22 counties here on the Sound of Ideas, so wondering if you know about that.
We know of one that's sort of a one-man band, which I don't really get how you can be a squad if you don't have partners. Partners are kind of key. But all of our stuff is replicable, and we have scam squads in other states that have used our materials or our model and created scam squads there. We're happy to share that info with any other county who wants to do it, and I'm going to Columbus next month with our Adult Protective Services folks to talk about starting your own scam squad to a group of APS and DSAS folks.
And what about the Better Business Bureau chapters?
So BBB Cleveland covers 5 counties. We cover Cuyahoga, Lake Lorraine, Ashtabula, and Geauga. But the best part about BBB is that we are all over. So we cover everywhere. So BBB Cleveland may cover just those 5 counties, but let's say you're in Canton or Akron, there's a BBB of Akron, there's a BBB of Canton. So no matter where you are covered by BBB. And we will always help you. And we, in the BBB system, share things. So never feel like you can't report to us, even if you don't know, even if you live somewhere else.
And the Attorney General's office, the Ohio Attorney General's office covers the entire state. They are also a Scam Squad member, and they report to the Sentinel database. So those are all shared, your
resources.
Yes, exactly.
Great. All right, we are here on the Sound of Ideas. We are talking about consumer protection. We're talking about scams. They get to us, they get to older people, they get to younger people, they are resulting in loss of money, estimated $150 million each year in the state of Ohio. If you have a comment or a question, you can call 866-578-0903, and the email is soi@ideastream.org. We have a call now from Rebecca in Cleveland. Rebecca, welcome to the Sound of Ideas. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. So I just wanted to say, I'm 34. I'm part of the generation that typically thinks that we're pretty savvy when it comes to scam and fraud detection, and nobody can fool us. But recently, I had the pop-up on my computer, the Microsoft pop-up, like you've got a virus, you have to call this number, the flashing screen, and all that. So I ended up calling the number. I was a little bit skeptical, and then I just, they gave me some information, and they were like, oh, well, we're Microsoft support. We need to help you out to clear this. I said, that's fine, but I'm going to hang up and call you guys back because I need to make sure this is actually Microsoft support. And the person on the phone said, ma'am, this is Microsoft support. You don't need to call us back. And that was pretty much when I knew without a doubt that it was going to be some type of scam. So I did end up hanging up on them, but in that moment it was quite jarring because I had never even come close to anything like that. So just to know that they can get to anybody, even if you think that you've got, all the knowledge and all the guards up. So, it can happen to anybody. But my best advice, I don't know if you ladies already covered this morning, but like I said, just hang up and call back a verifiable number. If someone calls and says this is the thing, this is customer support or whomever. Tell them, okay, that's fine. I'm going to hang up and call you back.
And one thing.
Thank you for that thought, Rebecca.
One thing you can do, also when you get those pop-ups, one, you can disable the pop-ups on your devices so that you don't have to worry about them. But when you get that pop-up on your computer, that's really scary because it says you're full of viruses. Unplug your computer, turn it off, 10 minutes, turn it back on, that thing will be gone. And it's really scary. It's a big thing. She's right about calling back, but I'll tell you something. Half of the pop-ups, I mean more than half, most of the pop-ups that we see actually contain a number that purports to be from Microsoft or from a tech company you know. Never call that number. They do not reach out to you in that way. There's never going to be a case where you get a pop-up that says your computer's full of viruses. And generally what they're going to try to talk you into doing is a bunch of stuff you can't do, and then they're going to say, well, let me make this easy for you. Just type in this program, and it's actually something that gives them access to your computer. So now they have access to all the data stored there.
I was going to say, Rebecca, if you're still listening, you did everything right. You were able to It doesn't look like it's urgency right off the bat, but you got it right when they were like, well, of course we're Microsoft. Like, they're trying to keep you on the phone because they want to prove to you that they're Microsoft. But you hanging up, and I think when you said, I'm going to call back, they probably got spooked themselves as the scammers because then they realized she's going to find out that she's not going to call us back.
And we're going to lose this victim.
Right,
basically.
Exactly.
But you don't want to use a number that they're giving you.
Correct.
So that's the point is, if you think you need to contact Microsoft, your best bet is to go to the Microsoft website and find a reported customer support number.
Yeah.
And good luck to you. But yes.
But we always say, look for the number yourself. So anytime somebody offers you or gives you that number, you can say, thank you, but I'm going to go look it up myself.
We have time for one more question. This is from Carolyn. Carolyn emails in, what percentage of funds lost to scams actually get recovered? Do you have any information about this?
Very little, because it depends on how you lose the funds, how quickly you report. But like I said, almost your chances of getting your funds recovered really depend on how swiftly you report the loss. Because the longer the time is between the time you lost money to the time you report it, a lot of those ways that we have to claw back funds, they're just not going to be working anymore.
But that's also why we say use a credit card. Because again, credit card companies are going to do everything in their power to get that money back. Whereas if it's your debit card or cash, it's a lot harder to get that money back.
So certain protections that do exist with that. One more time before we go here, I'll ask you, Cheryl, to share the resource information with the Cuyahoga County Scam Squad.
Okay, go to cuyahogacounty.gov/scam squad or call us at 216-443-7226. And that is a resource for Cuyahoga County residents, but anyone who lives anywhere can read our Scam Squad guide and information.
And Katie?
And ours is bbb.org. And I didn't mention our phone number, so I'm going to now. It is 216-241-7678.
And we do have these resources linked on our website, ideastream.org/SOI. That's all the time we have for this conversation right now. Thank you very much for the calls and emails today. I want to thank our guests, our consumer protection experts. We have Cheryl Harris, the director of the Department of Consumer Affairs for the Cuyahoga County, and also staffing the Scam Squad reporting line. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
And we have Katie Hills with us, the marketing director for the Better Business Bureau of Cleveland. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll hear about the future of Burke Lakefront Airport as the city seeks to close it and redevelop that land. It's not a done deal, and it is a hot-button issue that is the subject of tonight's Sound of Ideas community tour. This is the Sound of Ideas. I'm Stephanie Haney. We'll be right back. You're with the Sound of Ideas from IdeaStream Public Media. I'm Stephanie Haney. Thanks for staying with us. Burke Lakefront Airport is full of contradictions. Corporate executives fly in and out on private jets, yet it's partially built with dredged up dirt and trash from the Cuyahoga River. It was hailed in 1947 when it opened as the nation's downtown airport, but usage has been steadily declining for years. The Cleveland International Air Show is a large economic driver, but only occupies the airport a few days out of every year during Labor Day weekend. There's been a long-running debate over what to do with the airport, with Mayor Justin Bibb saying it's a goal of his to close Burke and transform the land. Tonight, the next Sound of Ideas community tour tackles what the future holds for Burke, featuring Mayor Bibb and other expert panelists. That conversation has filled up to capacity with registrants, but you can still catch that conversation live. We'll be live streaming it tonight at 6 p.m. on our IdeaStream Public Media YouTube page. To get a preview of that conversation, we'll learn now about the history of the airport and talk about what's currently underway with Steve Litt. He's a freelance reporter that covers art, architecture, and economic development for IdeaStream Public Media. This conversation was pre-recorded, but please send us your thoughts by emailing us at soi@ideastream.org. If you send us a question, we just might ask it tonight at the community tour. Here's our conversation with Steve. Steve, great to have you here with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Now, this conversation is pre-recorded, so we can't take your calls at the moment, but we do welcome your emails. You can email us at soi@ideastream.org. If you send us a comment or a question today, we just might use it at tonight's community tour. Now, Steve, you've been a journalist in Northeast Ohio for decades.
Yes.
How far back have you been hearing conversations about what to do with Burke?
Probably as long as I've been here, since the early 1990s. But we've never seen a moment like this where something may actually happen, where forces are aligned to actually make a decision about this.
And when we talk about what people are tossing out there as possibilities, back in 2004, former mayor of Cleveland, Jane Campbell, and Chris Ronayne, then the city planning director, now the county executive, talked about a public golf course on some of the land that Burke occupies. Can you share with us some of the things that have been tossed around?
Well, not much has been tossed around officially. So the city has had a couple of major plans since the late 1980s. In 1989, there was the Civic Vision Downtown Plan, Civic Vision 2000, and that had the airport staying in place. Then you roll the tape forward to 2004, as you mentioned, when Chris Ronayne was the planning director under then Mayor Jane Campbell. And that plan, the Waterfront District Plan, was the biggest thing of its kind in many, many decades, looking at the entire city lakefront. And as you point out, that plan suggested the idea that about a third of the surface area of what we call Burke Lakefront Airport could be turned into a golf course. And that didn't happen. So now we have a new sense of alignment in the community, which is a very recent thing now that you have Justin Bibb as mayor, Chris Ronayne as the county executive, and Greater Cleveland Partnership, I believe, is on board with this idea of turning Burke into something else other than an airport.
Now, former Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson, he was the mayor for 16 years.
Yes.
And this was not something
No.
that he was interested in discussing. What were his reasons for keeping the airport open?
I think it was just something he didn't want to deal with. I mean, he had the 2008-2009 recession to deal with. There was a wave of demolition of, dilapidated housing that had to take place. He was trying to balance the budget and keep running Cleveland in the black. I think those were the priorities for him. He also had the Republican National Convention to plan for. So he had a lot on his plate. Building a new convention center was also a big accomplishment from those years. There was a lot of talk about connecting the downtown lakefront better to back to the city. Those conversations really didn't go anywhere either. So we are where we are now. Justin Bibb has been talking about turning Cleveland into a two-waterfront city. So, and we're making enormous progress with that. Again, for the first time in, I can't remember any other time in the city's recent history over a half century when we've gotten this close to actually doing big things on the lakefront with the plan for the lakefront connector and redoing the shoreway. And there's $130 million of federal money that's been signed over to Cleveland to actually get those things done. So I could go on, but we are set up to actually do something pretty enormous on the downtown lakefront. And the Burke conversation seems like a logical follow-on to that.
Well, let's talk about the fact that Burke Lakefront Airport sits on something that wasn't always the lakefront. It was constructed there. So what is it sitting on? What is that? How does that play into this?
It's sitting on lake bottom. So the photographs that I've seen from 1947 that have been published recently show there's like water there. And a dike, so a rock kind of rim, a lip into which slurry could be poured from the Cuyahoga River. Cleveland is constantly dredging the river to maintain shipping upstream so that we can have working steel mills in the Industrial Valley. If you don't dredge the river to 27 feet every year, lake carriers can't get back and forth in that channel. So we're producing land at the rate of about 4 acres a year and have been doing that for over a century. Burke Lakefront is part of that story.
And does that impact what can actually go there if it's not an airport?
We will find out. So this is a big topic of conversation between the North Coast Waterfront Development Corporation under the leadership of Scott Skinner, who's going to be speaking at the event tonight. And he tells me that a lot of the airport could be considered safe to build on, but more is known about soil conditions the further west and south you go on that 450-acre footprint. The more you sort of stray out of that zone where the runways have been built and the terminal have been built and the parking lots have been built, the less is definitively known about what's down there.
Okay, let's talk about what it would take to actually close Burke Lakefront Airport in terms of hoops that would have to be jumped through with the FAA and also some of the financial implications you and I were having a chat about.
Yes. So there are 3 scenarios that need to be explored. One is to wait out the federal grant obligations. So federal grants were made to the city that would have to be returned if the airport is closed sooner than the term agreed to, which is basically ending in 2039. So
That's quite a ways away.
13 years, during which time Burke will be losing about $1 million a year that the city has to pay in order to balance the operations there. So a benefit to closing, to waiting that long is you don't have to pay that money. If you want to close it sooner, you have to apply for a waiver. And if the FAA grants that after a long process of analysis that will include looking at air traffic conditions around the region, can we afford to lose the reliever airport for Cleveland Hopkins International? That would be one of the big topics. So if the FAA then rules that, yes, there are alternatives that can handle air traffic in the region, Cleveland would likely have to pay $10 million immediately. And then the third option, which the city and the county are pursuing, is asking our congressional representatives to just obviate that entire process and let us close the airport. So that's what's happening now. The city and the county formally asked the Ohio congressional delegation in late 2025 to support that idea.
Now, some of that cost that would come, if that doesn't happen with the congressional support or whatever, paying back that grant money, is that something that any of that $130 million from the federal government could be used to pay?
No, all of that money, the $130 million, is coming from two big grants that were awarded during the Biden administration, and very interestingly, which the Trump administration has not clawed back. So we are seeing the Trump administration supporting this big project on our lakefront. But that money is earmarked specifically to build the lakefront connector and to redo the shoreway and cannot be used for any other purpose. And that money needs to start being drawn down by the end of 2027.
When we talk about what will happen with Burke Lakefront Airport, is there a feasible way to really connect that into the downtown Cleveland roadways and walkways and pathways?
So I think that's an excellent, very perceptive question. Burke is basically isolated. It's not part of downtown. There's this discussion about, the western part of it maybe being part of the downtown redevelopment, but it goes all the way out east, almost to East 55th Street, and ends in kind of a peninsula with an inlet on the south side. So getting that connected to the city means further work on the shoreway. It means possibly rethinking the ODOT project, which has been underway since 2000 to redesign the inner belt. That's a $2 or $3 billion project over decades, partially finished now. And the Dead Man's Curve portion is not designed in detail yet. That would take a bite out of what we think of as Burke Lakefront Airport. And, how do you then connect the city grid to all of that? The city is up on a bluff, so about 60, 70 feet above that landfill zone right next to the lake. So it's downhill across the shoreway. You're talking about building bridges from, I don't know, East 18th Street or maybe further east to make it feel connected and part of downtown. Right now, it's basically a kind of a suburban location close to downtown off a highway.
Speaking of other locations that are on the waterfront that have some adjustments coming, we know that the Browns Stadium will
Yes.
not continue to be operating along the lakefront. It's actually moving to Brook Park. Do you think that that move is playing into Mayor Justin Bibb's push to develop Burke Lakefront Airport?
I don't know. There was a conversation between the city and the Browns about possibly locating the stadium at the western end of Burke, but I don't think that was going to happen quickly enough to satisfy the Haslam Sports Group. I think the mayor is just responding to a kind of an upswelling of public opinion about getting Burke closed. This has been a topic of recent conversation. It's been bubbling up for well over a decade, certainly during the Jackson administration. The latter part of his last term, there were some very interesting conversations about closing Burke that were conducted by the Green Ribbon Coalition, a nonprofit. Some really fantastic ideas came out of that. So there's been this pressure. It's a really big thing. I also think that we're at this kind of financial balance point here where you're going to be paying $1 million a year to operate this airport at a loss. And that's coming into some kind of equivalence or balance with the $10 million that the city would have to pay to FAA to repay that grant that we've been talking about.
If it closes before
Yeah, so
2039.
either way, this is kind of a wash financially if you closed it early. But the best thing to do would be to get Congress to say, we can close it and you don't need to do it.
There is a new player on the scene. You know, this conversation has been happening for quite some time now, but the North Coast Waterfront Development Corporation now has a role. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so a really important point to make here is that we have a Waterfront Development Corporation, which is a kind of a public authority that can operate across election cycles and give the consistent long-term focus to lakefront development and riverfront development that we've never had before. So that's a tool that the city can use, and it's set up to carry out big projects. Without that, you really can't do these big things because political focus changes from administration to administration. The other thing we have that we didn't have before is a downtown tax increment financing district that enables a portion of the increase in value created by all the development that we're talking about to be channeled to public improvements that help further the development. So those are two things that enable all this big thinking. And it just, as Scott Skinner told me the other day when we were speaking about this, it kind of makes sense to plan a much bigger chunk of the lakefront altogether so that the uses that we're talking about on the downtown piece, where the connector and the shoreway are going to be adjusted, can be done in harmony with a plan for the Burke area.
The Burke Lakefront Airport is what's used for the Cleveland Air Show, which
Yes.
happens once a year. That's a popular community event, and there's a lot of conversation about whether that would be able to continue if the Burke Lakefront Airport wasn't there. And it's also an economic driver. So are you seeing conversation about any solutions to that issue if the Lakefront Airport is to close?
Again, I was speaking to Scott Skinner the other day. He's the director of the North Coast Waterfront Development Corporation. He believes that if you flew the planes in from another airport, you could still have the air show on the downtown lakefront. You just wouldn't be able to, walk on the runway next to parked planes and enjoy seeing them. So maybe that can happen somewhere else.
That's interesting. Would the air show be the draw it is without that ability to walk amongst the planes and have that kind of interaction?
I don't know. I've seen air shows, and I think, craning your neck and looking under, looking up and seeing all that action right overhead is pretty exciting. And, it'll be a good place to do that. But then you could have the experience of looking at planes somewhere else. Some creative scheduling might be able to solve that problem.
Creativity, definitely
Yeah.
no shortage of that in this conversation about Burke Lakefront Airport. Now, there's been attention on this topic because the city of Cleveland has released a feedback survey to the public. They're asking what to do with Burke. They said they've already gotten about 2,000 responses. Any insight into how effective surveys like this can be, and if you think these pieces of feedback will have an impact on what happens with Burke?
Sure. I mean, this is City Planning 101. You want to hear from the public about something like this. It's going to involve spending a lot of public money. We were just talking about infrastructure and connectivity. I should have mentioned that maybe RTA would want to extend the waterfront line out further to the Burke property. Those kinds of things, you really need to have public backing for them. So it's important to hear from the public. The results of any such survey should be made public so we can all see what did people say. That happened recently with the planning for the downtown lakefront, and I think you can see the preferences for people to have something that's open and accessible, to have a waterfront promenade that is open to everyone, a swimming area possibly, those kinds of things. Certainly places to see the sunset. Those were all in the public preferences when the mayor was going through a similar process, the mayor and the administration, on the downtown section of the lakefront. So yes, I think public surveys are listened to.
All right, well, that is all the time we have for this portion of the conversation today related to Burke Lakefront Airport. Steve Litt, freelance reporter covering art, architecture, and economic development for IdeaStream Public Media. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thanks, Stephanie.
A reminder, a community tour is tonight at 6 p.m. at Burke Lakefront Airport. If you're not already registered, you can catch the live stream at the IdeaStream Public Media YouTube page. Anna Huntsman is the host chair tomorrow. I'll see you back here on The Sound of Ideas next week. Have a great weekend, everybody.